All right. Good to see everybody. I'm sure you have the questions that you want updates on, but good stuff. Just had a good walkthrough and excited about this week. Great opportunity. Guys are in good spirits, so excited for today, excited for the rest of the week.
Has Abe Lucas had any padded practices yet? Has he been full contact?
I believe so. Now he's been in a limited capacity throughout. So and then today is like partial. We'll be in pads for a certain amount of time, and then we'll take him off at some point. But so he'll have another opportunity today. So, but he's had padded work.
It seems like if you've already seen a team once, it would be easy to go back and look at that tape and build a game plan. But I feel like your team's changed a lot. They've got McCaffrey back.
Yeah.
What do you do with that previous matchup?
Well, you definitely take into account. You can't take it, play by play verbatim, but that's kind of the secret. That's a secret question, right? Is what matters, what doesn't, how have you evolved, how do you take the next step, how do you answer certain things? Comes down to how well we play, frankly. So I guess that really is the secret behind it. But that's always the way when you're playing a team a second time, sometimes a third time. So we'll see a lot of these guys. So we got to go play good.
What have you seen in terms of stopping some of those big plays and steps that you've taken as progress?
Well, I think that we've got more people to the ball, and then I thought we've tackled better. I mean, there was a couple loose plays, but we had opportunities to tackle. Albeit it's not a good play for us. You're looking at probably a double-digit gain, but they're not putting points on the board. So those are the things we need to eliminate.
How does McCaffrey change that offense?
Well, I mean, you have last year's tape and then all the things they've done off of it, and then you have kind of a one-game sample, and they were doing a lot of the things that they do with McCaffrey now, albeit it might have been with Debo or with the running backs that they had out there. So it's kind of hard to gauge, like, a percentage of how much they're going to change, but you talk about interchangeable parts and guys that can do multiple things. I think you're probably more likely to get Christian in funkier spots that he normally – they didn't do with the other running backs or really any other running back in the league. So those are things you have to account for on really any situation. So they do a great job. Everybody kind of knows all the different spots and the time. They don't lose timing or anything like that. So that's what you're looking at.
You guys had 26 pressures against the 49ers, but only a couple of hits and no sacks.
Yep.
Pretty scrambled around a lot. Is that a focus for you guys this week?
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. He's a tough guy to get on the ground, and he is looking to kind of extend plays more this year, and that adds an element to their offense that you definitely have to account for. So how you build the rush plan pressure wise, it's not tough because it's not easy to just throw a bunch of bodies at them because he understands when they're hot and where to go with the ball, and they have answers built into all those types of things. So. Yeah, you got to try to get them on the ground. Now we have things that we're trying to do. We'll save that for our discussions, but it's definitely a point of emphasis.
What is it about Purdy that makes him tough to get on the ground?
Well, I mean, he's a heck of an athlete, and then he's got like a lower center of gravity, so he's like stronger than he looks. And then when he does get out in space, I mean, he's a mobile guy. I mean, he's an athletic dude. Like his change of direction is pretty good. Like. He feels the rush, understands timing, so I think there's a lot of things that go into it.
Was DK in the walkthrough today?
Yeah, DK is going to practice today in a limited capacity. I like how you phrase it, though.
When you guys signed Josh Jobe this summer, Mike, what did Carl Scott tell you about him and what he excelled at?
You can tell Josh everything was positive from K. Scott. I think it's the things that you're seeing. I mean, you got to give our personnel people. I mean, these are things that they're working on this type of stuff on how we want to augment our roster all the time, and Josh is a great example of that. And then using all the resources, information in the building, Carl Scott included. So I think it's a great example of the teamwork that we use, and the things that you see on tape right now is what made Carl excited about him. Obviously, they had a great relationship kind of coming in, so that's definitely helped.
Was he hidden because of the injury at Alabama and missing a lot of the pre-draft stuff? Was he kind of an
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Whether it's Josh doing what he's done or someone like Kobe, do you like the message that sends to the rest of the players of like, hey, you can earn this in practice? And
Absolutely. I mean, we want to be a program built on development and bringing guys along, and you earn your opportunities, and then we want to celebrate it when you go out there and you show what you can do. So we've had several examples of that you've rattled off, and hopefully that's a message to the rest of the guys. That's how we want to operate, and that's where you earn everything. Is just a day by day, in the meeting room, walkthroughs, how you go about your business, type of person you are, all that stuff. We're trying to make people grow in all aspects of their life.
When you're scouting an opposing offensive line and you find a weakness, is it easier to attack that if it's an interior part of the line or edge? Anything you can say there, one way or another?
That's a good question. I think offenses. Well, I mean, you're talking about run and pass, and then offenses have a little bit different mechanisms to help edge guys out via chips or things like that. Interior guys would be more of a slide, like where the center's going on the help. Some people employ like the back as part of the chip on the interior guys, but there's some things that go along as a cost that go with doing things like that. So it's probably harder to hide people interior wise, because on the edge you can provide chips, but now you're taking people out of routes, and there's just kind of back and forth between the things. But yeah, it's an interesting idea.
How much can Tyrese be helped by having played a couple of games, obviously, earlier in the year, and kind of now getting this chance again now mid-season?
A lot. I mean, experience, especially early in your career, like that learning curve really accelerates. And I mean, if he hadn't played, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation to this point.
I know that Ernest was going to wear the green dot. Does anything change with that communication? Has he been in your system long enough to have all that verbiage and the calls down?
Yeah. It'll be seamless with Ernest.
Mike, you can probably have an idea of what it's like to be a head coach, but until you do it, you probably don't really understand. Just curious, you're a little more than halfway through your first year.
Yeah.
What's the experience been like? What are some of the challenges that maybe you didn't see coming?
Well, yeah. I mean, that there's things that there's things you don't know that you don't know, so you're learning those all the time. Any new experience, if you don't have that mentality, then you're not going to learn anything. So I think you have to have that mindset, and then there's things that you don't know. So, you have to be humble enough to seek those answers and know where to kind of look for the information and try to get it right. But I think, look, like I said, I remember I was sitting down here, however X amount of months ago, and I was like, hey, the one thing I know how to do is be me. Kind of look at it through the lens of the principles that really matter, which we really believe in, and try to build it off those things. And I think for the most part, we have adhered to that, and with positive results in certain aspects. And sometimes you don't get the results you want, and then you have to go back and just kind of go back. And it's this is constant chasing of this vision of how you want your football team to be, and overall, you're really hey man, we're going to get there. It's just a matter of time and when. And but that's the mentality you have to have. You just have to be steadfast in chasing, what you believe in, and just you can't back down.
In season, what do you wish you had more time to do?
Everything. Yeah, days go by like that. You got to be smart with how you allocate your time.
Is there any one aspect of your job that you haven't been able to devote as much time to as you want to?
Well, I mean, I think it's fair to say you want to spend more time doing everything. I mean, I'd love it's the conversation with the players, it's the game planning, it's the scheduling, the weekly, all the things that have to go, all those things. So, but we got great support people that tee stuff up for me constantly, that let me focus on football. I'd say to maximize all those opportunities. So. All those people, I mean, the Haleys, the Macapuros, the EKs, even the Daves, all those people, they tee it up for me. So it's, it's always going to be a challenge, but it's a fun challenge. So, but they've made it as seamless as possible.
Coach, Derek Hall started off real strong, but has not had a sack since the Giants game. Just kind of curious what you're seeing from your edge rushers in general the last few games.
Well, it doesn't feel like that he hasn't had, the sack production. I think D Hall's still playing well. I think our edges are playing well. I'll tell you what, those guys will throw it in there. I think that play has been better since the Bills game. I think those, the last couple of games have been, better in that regard. Last couple of weeks, for that matter. So those are things that we're working through, and then we're able, like I think the flexibility up front by, being able to put some other guys in those spots just because we lack some bodies as true like edge guys. I think that actually helps us in the long run to build depth and create some more like blocking services that teams might not expect.
Did the bye week, when you look back on Gino's performance through however many games, did you learn anything new or see anything differently after you had a chance to step back?
I think it confirms a lot of the things that we felt like. The things that you don't see in bye week watching cut-ups is what it feels like during the game and his presence and his competitiveness. I think that the team feels that they feed off of. But the message to Gino is, hey, we're all trying to make this thing go to the next level. Keep doing the things that you've been doing to be you, and it'll fall into place. So I think that's probably the biggest takeaway.
You guys have had a lot of third and longs in some situations. I guess when you kind of looked at that, what is the situation there?
Well, it's all the above. It's first down efficiency. It's how well and effective we've been able to run the ball, dictate terms of the to the defense. We have to do a way better job of that. You can't be last in the league in third down distance and feel like you're in a good spot. So penalties, things of that nature. You just can't have those negative plays. How you do it, how you call it, how you build it, all those things that those are the things that we're working on.
How does go ahead, Lon.
Thanks, Brady. Speaking of first down, the 49ers are second in the NFL. They're averaging 7.5 yards per play.
Yep.
Just how important is that to get them to third?
Yeah, this game is going to come down to a large part of it's going to come down to how well each team plays on first down, and they do a great job. I think we played it well in certain aspects in the first game. Obviously, we gave up some explosives on first down too. So, trying to eliminate those types of things, putting ourselves in better position, really just executing as a whole is better. And of course, as coaches, we're trying to design and put ourselves in better situations so we feel like we have the upper hand in those situations as well. So it's kind of a team effort.
Kyle Shanahan's offense, how does it test or put pressure on cornerbacks?
That's a good question. I think as a whole, really everybody, eye discipline is at a premium, and there's a lot of moving parts. Distributions and how like the number count changes quickly and how well he changes angles and numbers, I think is up there with everybody, the best in the league. And then I'd say like the timing and the precision in the passing game really puts a premium on how well those guys can play their technique. And hopefully that's a good answer.
Does it force them to be bigger parts of run defense?
I mean, I'm not going to say like no because they don't, but it's just it's standard. The corners are going to have to show up in any run scheme. I mean, not every run scheme is designed to get to the corner. A majority of them are, because normally he's the free guy, but they're able to create and get hats on hats where those guys sometimes will be forced to show up.
How do you assess Devon Witherspoon's year to this point?
I think I understand where the question's coming from because of probably a lack of stats, but I'll tell you what, this guy, talk about like force multipliers on your football team, that is Devon Witherspoon. I mean, this guy he's an elite competitor. He's a guy that hopefully he's leading the charge, for us for a long time here. I mean, this guy, he's just, we talked about it at length, but I mean, he's worth a shout out. He's so intelligent, can play all the multiple spots, all the energy we feed off this guy and how competitive he is. Plays the way we want to play. I mean, you kind of want to play him everywhere, and so that's probably my biggest compliment to him. So it's trying to figure out how we can play him the best to make him affect the game. And we're thinking through that lens, and frankly, it's nothing that he's not doing that's not creating production. You could put it on me to get him into better spots, and so we can go affect the game. But that's definitely a focus.
How good is his chase compared to a lot of defensive backs you've coached?
He just decides that he is going to get to the football, and so when you watch the tape, there's no hesitation of the ball's over there. Hopefully, so and so makes the tackle. Like he expects himself to make the play no matter where it is, and that if we have 11 guys with that mentality all the time, then we can be a dangerous group.
What are you seeing from him as a pass rusher specifically?
Well, I think I need to give him more ops, but he's one of the guys that from off the ball has won one-on-one rushes. But I think he has really good timing, really good feel for the game, and we got to give him more opportunities.
Rick Willen's been asked to travel a little bit more this year, play on both sides of the field. Have you noticed any advantages or disadvantages for him? How that's going for him this year?
I don't think like his production is a function of how we've tried to deploy him. Rick's a guy, he's got all the ability in the world, and he makes all those plays. And then there's just a couple where, hey, if we just stand on a play-by-play, day-by-day, moment-by-moment mentality, he can be up there he'll play with the best of them. And so he knows that. That's our message to him every day. He's doing a great job, but I'm sure he's going to say there's a couple plays where he can, if he took advantage of that, he'd be cooking with gas.
George Fant, what do you know about how long he's going to be out?
I'm not sure. We did put him on IR, right? Yeah, I'm not sure.
Do you know if he'll be back this season?
No, I don't.
Do you try to change the message after the bye week and refresh, change anything up, or do you try to keep it as consistent as you were in the first part of the season?
Well, yeah, I think consistency is important, but I'm not going to deadpan in front of everybody every day. But it's basically the message that I feel like that we need to hear. But yeah, we're going forward. We're just going to have the same mentality if we're trying to attack what we want it to look like in all phases, and each day it kind of manifests itself a little differently.
When you look at your run game, is there anything you'd like to see differently from Zach and Kent?
I think they're the guys toting the rock. We got a ton of faith in them, but it's a team mentality, So we gotta all have it come together, and they're going to be a huge part of that solution and going forward. So it's not that they're not running it right and we're blocking it right, or we're getting it, or they're blocking it right and we're not running it right, or we're not calling it. It's not like it's not this. It's just it's a this mentality. So I think they see it the same way.
Where's Knight's growth been in run defense?
I think really any rookie linebacker has a hard time with block shed. Without naming names, there's a couple guys that pop in my head that were really great coming out that I've had the opportunity to coach. But on the most part, it's just how to get off blocks, block destruction, how to use your hands. I think he's really grown in that area.
Anything else?
Okay. All right. Thank you.